Hello Lightning Leaders, and welcome to another math video, this time from my living room. They closed the buildings to the teachers too, so now I have to film here at home. Luckily, I was able to fit this into my car. Didn't work that well, it was sticking out of the trunk, but luckily there was no one on the road, so we're good to go. Today we're going to talk about word problems. Now Mr. Horgan and I, we sat down before they closed the school and decided that we wanted to do the multiplication and division before the word problems because we wanted to practice those skills because you're going to need them in the word problems. That's why we jumped around a little bit. So this video is going to help you with pages 12, 13, 14, and 19 in the packet. 12, 13, 14, and 19. Now, before we jump into any word problems, we have to remember our steps. And I'm going to write my steps here along the side of the board. Actually, I'm probably going to do it on this side because then I don't have to reach so far. So that I can go through them with you in a couple example problems. Now, the first step in doing any kind of word problem is always to read the question. No matter what teacher you have, what program you're using, the first step of a word problem is always to read it. So that's always step number one. Ooh, that's squeaky. We need to read it. Then we pause. Think of it as almost like a reading test. You read it, now you gotta go back. What do you remember from it? So question 2 is, what do I know? What do I know? So we read the question, now we gotta ask, what information do I know for certain I have from this question? Now, it's been a while at this point since we've read the question, so it's a good idea to go back and actually reread the question. Reread that question so you know exactly what you're looking for, especially now that we're in 4th grade, almost 5th graders. We're getting to the point now where our word problems are more than one step. So we need to make sure that we're answering exactly what the question is looking for. After that, we have to think, all right, I know what I know. I know what the question's asking for. Now I need to come up with a plan of how to get there. So I need to come up with my strategy. How am I going to do this? Am I going to add? Am I going to subtract? Am I going to multiply? Am I going to divide? Do I have to do a combination of 2 or 3 of them? That's what you have to figure out. Then once you have your plan in mind, this is our plan, our strategy, our plan. Once you have your plan in mind, now you need to organize your thinking. In what order do I need to do these steps to get to the right answer? So I'm going to say, order your thinking. And then finally, once we have our answer, we need to write a statement. All word problems need to end in a statement. They don't need to be novels. They don't need to be incredibly long writing pieces. Just a quick sentence that answers the question. With these steps in mind, let's jump into a couple example problems. Now, the very first page of word problems, it says multiplication word problems on page 12. Now, these are all one-step word problems. And it's really just there to practice your math facts. For example, question 1 says, the library has 5 mystery books on a shelf. It has 4 times as many fiction books on another shelf. How many fiction books are on the shelf? All right, so I read my question. What do I know? I know there's 5 mystery books. Okay. I know there's 4 times as many fiction books. Okay. What is the question? The question is, how many fiction books are on the shelf? Okay, fiction books. Need to figure out the fiction books. My strategy, well, if there's 4 times as many, I know I need to multiply. And that's my only step. So I just have to do 4 times 5, which is 20, which means that my answer is there are 20 fiction books on the shelf. Now this entire page follows that same pattern. They're all just one-step word problems, and they're super nice, and they actually write the numbers in there. So this is a question where Unfortunately, you can be a number plucker, which is you just pull up the numbers and guess what to do. But these questions are just one step, multiplication facts, practicing your facts. And then at the bottom, you get to create your own word problem for question 9 that involves 5 times 6. So you get to be creative with that one. For the remainder of this video, I'm going to focus on the other pages, which are multi-step word problems. And as I'm looking ahead here, yeah, we'll talk about the division one at the end. So let's jump into our modeling multi-step word problems. I'm going to put a cut in the video here so that you don't have to sit there and watch me put all of this on the screen, or on the board. I'm going to write the question out, and then by the time that's done, you'll rejoin me and we'll solve the question. Welcome back, Lightning Leaders. I've put the question up on the board. This is the first question on page 13. 13, there it is, yep, 13. All right, so the first thing to do is to read it. Now, before I start, on page 13, the questions are a little different than on page 14. We don't need to do a statement for these ones. They just want us to write an equation. So we're going to go through all of the work except solving it. So let's begin. The Lopez family goes to the movies. They buy 2 adult tickets for $6 each and 3 child tickets for $4 each. Write an equation to represent how much money the family spends on the movie tickets. Use the letter T. Now, I'm really upset that they chose the letter T here, because it's one of my rules to not use an O, a T, an L when doing math, because they look like other things. The T looks like a plus, the O looks like a 0, the L looks like a 1. So these are things we try to avoid. Now, if you notice, we put a little tail on our T here. We have to use T because that's what they told us to use. I would have chose M for money because that's what we're trying to find here, but it's what they gave us, so it's what we have to use. Now, we write it. Let's go back through and figure out what we know, because that's step 2. We know that they bought 2 adult tickets for $6 each and 3 child tickets for $4 each. That's all we know. Now, there isn't a question for this word problem because they just want us to write an equation. Well, that's our question here. Write the equation to represent how much money the family spends on the movie tickets. Well, now we have to strategize. What is my plan? How am I going to get there? Well, in order to do that, let's think. I need total number of tickets. So they have the adults and they have the kids. I need to figure out how much they spent for the adults, how much they spent for the kids, and put it all together. That's 3 steps. Adults, kids, put it all together. Now I need to order my thinking. Well, I need to figure out adults and kids first. So let's do that. I know that they spent $6 each for 2 adult tickets, which means I need to do 2 times 6 to figure out how much money they spent on the adult tickets. Now, we learned in 3rd grade that whenever we're doing an equation and we see parentheses, that's what we do first. So that's what I'm going to want to do first. So I'm going to put my 2 times 6 in these parentheses here. Now, my second step is to figure out how much the kid tickets cost. Well, the kid tickets were 3 kids, and they were $4 each. So I have to do 3 times 4 for that one. Now, I need to add them up, because that was my 3rd step. Plus symbol, T, there's my equation. Adult tickets plus kid tickets equals the total amount they spent on tickets. Questions 2, 3, and 4 follow the same pattern, and as always, the answers will be up at the end of the video for you to check your work. Question 5 says, what strategies did you use to write your equation? Well, I used multiplication, I used addition, I followed my word problem steps. Any of those would be good answers. I want to focus a little bit on question 6, because question 6 says, is there another way that you could write one of your equations? Well, let's look at this one. Is there another way I could write it? Well, absolutely. I could take this and put it over here, and take this and put it over here. I could flop them, because addition doesn't matter what order I add them in. I could take my equal sign and put it all the way over here, and start it with my equal sign. It doesn't matter. you can rewrite it in many different ways. I could flip my factors inside my parentheses, because that's something that's cool about math. You could do things in so many different ways and still get the same answer. Now, question 6 has 2 parts. The second part says, can you write it as 2 equations? Well, yeah, I can, because this is the adult tickets, this is the kid tickets, so then I can do A plus C equals T. So I can solve each of these separately and have them be their own equations, and then have a third equation. Many different ways to solve this question. I'm going to put another cut in this video while I put the first question on page 14 up on the board. We'll solve that one together, and then I'll have you figure out the rest. Be back in a sec. Hello, Lightning Leaders, and welcome back. I have put the first question on the board from page 14, and this time we not only have to come up with an equation, we also have to solve this question. And I'm realizing that I have a little bit of an error here. This needs to be a question mark, not a... well, I guess it does. Actually, you know what? No, because it says to write the equation and solve. It doesn't ask as a question. Never mind. Erase that down. All right, let's start by reading the question together. Tasha spends 25 minutes reading on Wednesday night. She spends 17 more minutes reading on Thursday than she did on Wednesday. Write and solve an equation to find how many minutes Tasha spent reading on Wednesday and Thursday nights. Okay, we read the question. Now, what do we know? Well, we know she read for 25 minutes on Wednesday. We know she read for 17 more minutes on Thursday. This more is the key here. Write and solve an equation. Okay, so that's all we have. Now, what is our question? They want to know how many minutes she read on Wednesday and Thursday, right? How many minutes reading Wednesday and Thursday? That's our question. That's what we're trying to find. Now I need to strategize. What am I going to do to figure this out? Well, let's backtrack. I need Wednesday plus Thursday equals my total number of minutes. So that's my equation right there. Ready? Wednesday plus Thursday equals my total number of minutes. This is what I need to solve. Now we need to backtrack. Well, I already know what Wednesday is. They told us right here. Wednesday is 25 minutes. So I'm going to write that off to the side so I don't forget that. Wednesday is 25. But I don't know what Thursday is. And this is where it's important not to just pull out numbers. I tell my class all the time, don't be a number plucker. Like a chicken, you pluck things. Don't be a number plucker. Don't pull out these numbers. Don't pluck them right out of the question and guess on what to do. Because Thursday was not 17 minutes. That's not what the question says. It says that she read 17 more minutes on Thursday than she did on Wednesday. Which means to figure out how much she read on Thursday, we have to do a little bit of math. We know that Thursday is going to equal Wednesday plus 17. And I know this because it says 17 more. So I have to do 25 plus 17. Let's see, that's a 2, carry the 1. So now I know that Tasha read for 42 minutes on Thursday. Now I'm ready to solve this equation because now I have Wednesday and I have Thursday. So I have to do 42 plus 25 add them up. So now I know that she read for a total of 67 minutes. I need a statement. Tasha read for 67 minutes. So to go back through our steps, we read the question, we figured out what we knew, we reread our question to figure out what we were trying to find. Then we strategized, we came up with our plan. We knew that this is what we needed to find. Wednesday plus Thursday would give us our minutes. They already told us what Wednesday was. So we needed to figure out what Thursday was. This was our strategy, this was our plan, this was our order of thinking. We already knew Wednesday, so now we need to find Thursday. We knew that 17 more told us that we needed to add 17 to 25, giving us 42. Knowing now that Thursday was 42 minutes. Now that we knew what Thursday was, we could finish our strategy, we could go back to our original plan. Wednesday plus Thursday equals our total minutes, which was 67. Word problems are tricky. I know they are. Give the next 3 a shot. I know your teachers will be happy to help you if you get stuck, because I know these are not easy. As always, the answers will be up at the end of the video. Also, they didn't give you a lot of space on these pages, so if you have some loose leaf or some extra scrap paper laying around the house, I suggest using that so you have more space to work. Look at all this work we did. That's not going to fit in those little tiny spaces on these papers. Now, the last question on that page is asking you to estimate to check one of your answers. Well, to estimate, we could round these to the nearest 10 and do 40 plus 30 and get 70. 70 is pretty close to 67. I think we did it right. I think we got the right answer. Now, there's one more word problem page, and it's the division one. And this division one is the exact same as the multiplication one. It's one step, and really it's just practicing your facts, your fact families. Question 1 on page 19 says, there are 5 times as many tulips as rose bushes in the garden. There are 15 tulips. How many rose bushes are in the garden? So it's 5 times something equals 15, or 15 divided by 5 equals something, which we know to be 3. So they're all just figuring out your multiplication and division facts, which I know we all have trouble with, and it's something you should be practicing now that we're not in school every day, because it's a great, quick thing you can do. I will put the answers to all 4 of these papers at the end of the video. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to your teacher, and they will be more than willing to help you. One final note, I miss you all. I hope you are falling into some kind of routine, and I can't wait to see you all again. I know it'll be soon. See you guys next time.